Are you stuck? How about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for Magical Moments with Alena, as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. Alena will help you take control of your life and push you to do the things you never thought you'd do. So get ready to take back your power and celebrate life with Magical Moments featuring Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments, and I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and boy, do we love that ease and betterment in our life, or what, huh? All right, for my magical nugget, I really wanted to give you something. You know, we live in such interesting times right now, and there are so many people who might not feel like it's the best of times. It is. It's the best of times and the worst of times in so many ways. And yet some of us are focusing on the worst of times. And so what does that do? That causes a lot of aggravation, and that causes upsetness. And things start popping out of us, like people you've never seen angry are angry before. Stuff is happening, frustration. All right, and we have this thing, everyone's saying be vulnerable, be yourself, don't hold it inside, let it out, right? Okay, so you got that argument. And there's a lot to that. A lot of mental illness comes from just holding things way down inside. Not to mention the sickness, that emotion carries. You've been listening to my shows. If you haven't, look back at Dr. Emoto's shows, or how about we're all this water. And when we're angry, we're putting chemicals in the water, which pollutes the muscles, which hurts our body, which causes disease of the body and spirit and mind. All right, so I started thinking, is every fight worth the fight? No. And so what we want to do is we want to kind of look at this. How do we handle this confrontation? Because we don't want to stuff it down. We don't want to stuff it into our body. So how do we let it go? Okay, I got a way that I do it, because I grew up in an Italian-Irish family. And I mean, it was volatile every day. Not just once. Every day there was something. So how do you learn how to do it? Okay, I love my red button. I have a red button, and this is what I do. It's in my mind, but when somebody is in my face, and they do get in my face, I press the red button in my mind, and I say, breathe. That's what I say. Say, breathe. Because if my little Italian temper does get flurled and all up in the air, that's not good. And I don't even like to be that way. I don't like to lose control anymore. That's just not me. So I press this red button in my mind. I let my shoulders drop, and then I just breathe. And I think to myself, okay, I totally disagree with this person. How do I want to present this that I can bring the very best of me? I'm not going to sit by and just say, yeah, whatever, you just talk. No, because that's not going to do it. And that's not going to help me. That's going to cause the disease in my body. So I just say to myself, all right, how can I bring this forward in a way that's nice? So I keep breathing. I don't let myself get all yucky. But then I do bring my points to the surface in a nice way. The other thing I always do is I always make sure I listen to what they're trying to say versus what I hear. Okay? Because they might be upset about something totally different from what they're telling me. So I am going to do a show on this, actually. Watch the show, because those are just two starts. This week, if somebody is in your face, stop, breathe, press that red button in your mind, lower your shoulders, and think, okay, how can I do this in a better way that brings me out to the very best I am? And you won't burn bridges this way. Now, my show today, I am so excited, guys. I am really excited. This show is special because I have actually the producer of this show on the show. And she's one heck of a woman. And I asked her to be on. I'm not kidding. She really is. This is Kayla Blakeslee, and she is the host of Fort Wayne's Morning News. And she's Northeast Indiana's #1 conservative news talk radio station. And she is one of the main people on it, guys. She has covered everything from award shows to elections and interviewed everyone from former Vice President Mike Pence to country music sensations like Luke Bryan. In addition to hosting Fort Wayne's Morning News, Blakeslee hosts and produces WOWO's only video series called You Tell Me. I love this. During which she asks thought-provoking questions to inspire constructive dialogues about day's top news and pop culture events. Blakeslee is your typical news junkie and talk radio lover. I love it. She's proud of her fearless personality, and I can tell you that's not just on the radio. And she never shies away from interjecting a little sass, which is why I love her.
That's why we get along so well, Alena.
Yeah, we do. We get along really well. All right, so why am I having you on, my dear?
I have no idea.
Oh, yes, you do. Okay.
I did like the way you started this morning, with the red button, because at least in my line of work, I can tend to be really defensive. Because a lot of times people come at me always, I put my political views out there every day. People can hear them. And that's just kind of one of the, quote, hazards of the job, right? When you're going to state your opinions and make them known, naturally you have to be willing to have people come at you with opposite opinions and opposite beliefs.
Exactly.
And so there is a tendency for me sometimes to get defensive and defend what I believe and think and feel. Over the years, I've gotten a lot better at that and really try to hear, like you just said, what people are truly trying to say and really try to hear their heartbeat. Because I think a lot of times we all come off really defensive, but we don't really always necessarily mean it. We just really want to get our point across. So I think your red button strategy is a good strategy that I think a lot of us could use right now.
It is important. And as we get more and more out there, and now that we've been after the COVID and we're back out there and we're starting careers in many, many ways. People are starting new things. We're going to be in situations where people aren't going to agree with us. And everybody is very opinionated right now. But women in business, we tend to be more defensive. Don't you find that?
I do find that. And like I said, I'm guilty of it myself. And it's just over the past couple of years that I've really started to be self-aware of that. And you mentioned my video series there. It's a vlog that it's called You Tell Me, where I'm genuinely try to ask thought-provoking questions so I can genuinely hear differing opinions from my own. And to hopefully start constructive dialogue, because I believe that folks have forgotten how to have constructive dialogue.
Yeah, it's true. And we all get so upset. It's very interesting. I have started... I can raise that defensive. Well, my gosh, we were brought up that way. Yeah. And you're right into your belief of things. And are you questioning me? Oh my gosh.
How dare you?
So I actually had a pretty big little defensive thing. And I met this woman who said, you don't have to live by that defense. You can talk to it. Why does it want to defend you? You actually talk to that emotion inside you, which is a little woo-woo, Kayla, but you know what?
You know how I feel about woo-woo sometimes.
I know. I'm always saying we're getting woo-woo. But this is what I did. I don't know if you'd like it or not. I talked to my my defensive person there, and I said, you've done well. You've really done well. I was a little sassy little girl, and I said, but you know what? I want you to step back, and I want to let wisdom come in.
Amen to that.
And now it's a process. Oh, my gosh.
So I said, I've been working on it. I'm not perfect at it either. I've really been working on it the past couple of years.
That's what we all have to know. I have done so much in my evolution of my own spirit, right? But I'm still working. We're all still working.
I saw this interview. It was with former President Barack Obama, and he was talking to CNN's Anderson Cooper. And this was probably within the last 6 months. Yeah, it was a really good interview. And, Anderson Cooper was asking Obama where the direction of this country and where we're headed. And Obama actually said something like pretty profound, and it's kind of right along the lines of what we're talking about. He said something to the effect that we have forgotten how to identify shreds of ourselves in other people. Because if you come across other folks, there's something somewhere that you do absolutely have in common. Maybe you're both females. Maybe you both run businesses. Maybe you both have kids. Maybe you both don't have kids. There's always a shred of something that you have in common. And Obama's point was that we've just completely forgotten how to identify that shred. And ever since I saw that interview, that's actually really stuck with me. When I meet new people or I come across people that I know don't really think the way I think, I really genuinely strive to find that shred of something that we have in common. You're a great example of that. When you walked through the front door, I kind of felt like immediately meeting you that I probably really didn't have much in common with you.
I know. Isn't that something?
Politically, we don't,
No.
for example.
No.
But you and I actually do have a ton in common. I like to think we're both really fierce, powerful women. We're both outgoing women. We're driven women. We know what we want. And to me, I feel like that's really helped create our bond that we've had over the past couple of years here while you're doing the show.
Yes.
And so I just think that's really important that we get back to striving to find that that shred that we do have in common.
I think that is important. I think you took good words from Obama.
I know, believe it or not. Thank you very much. Probably the first and last time, but hey,
it might not. But it is important, and I do think we forget that. We're so caught up in our how we feel through this, the frustration inside ourselves. We've forgotten,
and COVID's made it worse.
It did. Oh, it did. No, I mean, COVID really screwed up a lot of things. But we can get back to that. And we can start, this new norm. We're creating the new norm. And in this world, if we can start to look at people as people who have all gone through the same thing, some worse than others.
Right.
And if we start having that little drop of compassion in looking at a person with eyes of tolerance and understanding that we've all gone through this. In fact, the whole world has gone through this. And when we see that alone gives us a common thread.
I think too, at least in terms of COVID, and you're talking about that this wasn't just a U.S. thing, this wasn't just, a Middle Eastern thing, this was the entire world.
The whole world.
It was such unforeseen circumstances, right? It was such a rare thing, a rare occurrence that this impacted the entire world. And it's like, you would think on one hand, this should be this moment where we would unite and join hands together like, hey, we're all fighting through this together, but it obviously wasn't. It didn't really work out that way.
No.
However, I just feel like to kind of get back on that path, like you said, of moving forward, one strategy would be to hopefully absorb that, like, hey, we genuinely all, across the world, have been going through this. And I do think there are some positives that have obviously come out of it. And I know a lot of people have talked with us as well, folks being able to spend more time with their families, being able to maybe focus a little bit better on their health while they're at home, whether it's cooking at home, things like that. Yeah. And I know there are some positives, but to me, that's what I've really strived to do over the last year myself, is focus on the positives that did come out of the experience and recognize this wasn't just an Indiana thing.
No.
This wasn't just an America thing. This is a whole world thing.
It's the world thing. And I like how you're focusing on the positive.
You've been a good influence on me, Alena.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, no, it is important. I mean, I work from home, and my business was a little damaged because I do workshops out of my home. Had to stop all that, right? So then, we stopped all workshops.
I remember we took this show digital. You were doing it from home.
Yeah, I was doing that. That was an experience with everyone at home, and we're trying to do the show
at
home.
We don't have to do that ever
you'd hear the bird chirping, the dog barking.
The dog's barking.
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but the thing is. I also learned it was wonderful to have my boys around 24/7, and home from college. And there were a lot of really good pluses. But moving out from that, it's up to us. I think if we can start having the dialogues again, start to deal with the frustration. If you have frustration, oh my gosh, vent it. Vent it in other ways. Don't burn bridges. Get out there. Do the exercise. Write the letters you're never going to send and burn them. Get it out of your system. It is energy inside of you. You've got to get it out. And then start looking at, okay, who do I want to be in this new world?
That really
How
is
do
so
I want to
important.
make it better?
That's I think for me, my struggle with COVID, I'm a runner. I've always been a runner.
Yeah.
And that's where
I wish I was.
If I've had a bad day, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go out and maybe push through 5 or 6 miles. That's just always been
5 or 6 miles?
Well, yeah, it used to be back in the day.
That's really good.
But then COVID hit, and I was actually pregnant all through COVID. I spent my last trimester of pregnancy right as we went into lockdown. And so busting out 5 or 6 miles, and we're still kind of coming off winter, I wasn't obviously able to do that.
No.
And so I actually really struggled because that is my way to get out my frustration.
Me too.
Is running.
Well,
and I'll pop in a podcast in my ears and just go do my thing. And I usually feel, exponentially better when I walk through the door. So that was a bit of a challenge for me. You bring up the letters, which I think is interesting. That's a way my husband actually deals with a lot of his frustrations. He writes the fake letters.
Yeah, see, that's what I do.
And we still have all of them. I never read them. I let them be his private.
Them. He doesn't burn them. He keeps them forever.
No, I should tell him to burn them. I know he still has a lot of them. I don't actually even really know what he does with them.
Tell him to burn them and take them up to the universe.
That might be really therapeutic, yeah.
And then I always ask that God or the universe takes all that energy that I'm trying to get out and turn it into something good and spread it around the world.
I like that.
Convert it.
I'll have to tell him to do that because he's not a runner like I am. He actually really did get into yoga as well during COVID. That was kind of his release. But I do think that's important because I saw such a big difference in myself. Now, granted, I was also in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy through a global pandemic. So there is
hard.
that.
Yeah.
But I did find myself really missing it, and not being able to have that release was really challenging for me.
It's very hard. I know. When I was pregnant, I was on bed rest, and I have to say,
that would have been awful.
Oh, it was horrid.
Yeah.
Horrid, because I'm an active person. I'm not a runner, but I love to walk. I love to hike. I love to be out, and I couldn't do anything, and that was really hard. So yeah, I understand, and it builds up. You have to find other ways. Letter writing is a fantastic way, but it's getting that energy out so that you can come out into the world and start to be who you want to be, and don't be so afraid. And I don't know, you and I are both, we don't have that fear thing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
people don't believe
nice.
that. But you know, that fear, that not having that fear thing is a humongous plus.
It is. But like you said in my bio there, I'm unapologetically me. I am fearlessly me. But I credit a lot of that to just my upbringing. My parents always raised me to, know why you believe what you believe.
Nice.
I know I'm very political Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m., on WOWO. And that is a part of me, but I know exactly why I believe what I believe. And I've known that about myself from a really young age. And I really feel like that was a major factor throughout going to college and just starting my career in general. I've noticed a lot of my friends who were kind of wishy-washy in their beliefs, which is okay. I get a lot of people still finding themselves, and I'm still finding myself every day too. But that's never been me, Alena. I've never been afraid to be me or believe what I believe. Yeah. But I do credit a lot of that to how I was raised.
Yeah, and me too. Mm-hmm. And you do have that. Well, we were fortunate. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of kids were not taught that,
Absolutely.
did not have that. But my dad was the one who said, you can be anything. Mm-hmm. What do you want? Mm-hmm. He'd say that. What do you want? And I would think, what do I want? Oh, boy, I better come up with what I want.
my
3
father,
years old.
I plan on doing this with my daughter. My daughter's only 1. But my father, ever since I started, it was 5th grade is when he started this. Starting in 5th grade, my dad would make me put on paper, physically write down my top 5 goals for that year.
Excellent.
And I kept I still have a lot of these. And they were usually really silly things like make 2 new girlfriends, get straight A's, join the softball team.
Those are good.
But as I started to grow up and my ambitions and goals evolved, it was really kind of fun to watch them. But my dad doing that, what I didn't know is it was really focusing my energy and really causing me to
have intention.
Have intention of what I wanted out of every single day.
Exactly.
And again, in 5th grade, 6th grade, I didn't realize that, but it was slowly building up to know, well, why do you want to be on the softball team? Why do you want to get straight A's? Why do you want to have a new girlfriend? You know what I mean? So it really instilled for me, again, something as simple as why I wanted to play softball was instilled for me really young. So everything that I really always wanted to achieve, there's always usually a reason behind it or why.
That's cool.
And so I plan on doing that with my own daughter, is trying to really have her focus and driven
I think that would be
on
good.
what she wants to achieve. And it's something that my husband and I carry with us now. Every year, at the end of every year, we sit down and we have the same book that we do it in, and we write out our individual goals and we write out our goals as a married couple. And we've been doing it since the start of our marriage, which is remarkable.
Very
and
nice.
Again, in the same book, and it's so fun. At the end of every year, we go back and look at what we accomplished, maybe what we didn't accomplish. And throughout the year, we'll kind of check in with it and check off things that we have done or haven't done.
I like this.
Yeah, so
this is very cool.
I think, again, all of that is just major factors that has what played into who I am as a person and why I'm just so unapologetic about it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to be. I like it. I like what your dad
Some people don't like it, Alena.
Really? Really?
I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. That's okay.
Well, you don't have to. Well, who is everyone? I'm not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
Some people get extremely frustrated with me, and I don't understand. And the more calm I am, the more upset they get.
I feel the same way. I can be calm as a cucumber, and I do think that makes it worse sometimes.
It does sometimes. People are funny. You can't always tell. Everybody is their own. We have a common thread, but boy, we are our own also in our own way.
It is, but that would be my best advice, especially for people maybe struggling coming from out of COVID. Maybe they had a job loss, or
intention,
off, or they had to stay home to watch their kiddos, or someone with failing health. I don't know, but that would be my best advice. Grab a sheet of paper and write down your goals for you.
Yeah.
Not for your family, not for your kids or your husband. Your goals for you. I'm a firm believer that self-care is so important, and if you can't take care of yourself, there's no way I'm going to be able to take care of my husband or my daughter or bring them happiness and joy if I'm not happy and joyful on the inside. So I think it always starts with you first, and that is just my biggest piece of advice. And I've shared this actually numerous times with a lot of people.
Right.
How'd you get through COVID, especially because I was pregnant, how did you do this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I had to really get back to myself. Well, what do I want out of my life moving forward, coming out of this crazy global pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just a transition for me anyway because I had our first child, you know, so that was a big life change for me anyway.
It makes total sense because when you live, what you're doing is you're living with intention.
Right.
And you're setting a goal. So like something, and that's true when there's a tragedy that comes in, if you have that intention, if you have that goal and you know to treat yourself well through it, those are two important things. Then you can navigate through everything. If you don't have the intention, you're like a lost ship in the storm.
Yeah. You're just like a buoy just bobbing around aimlessly. Yeah.
You are. You just, and you can't, that causes the frustration. I think that's what caused the frustration.
I think it causes the unknown. And that's why I think some people then get upset with others because you're so lost. It's hard to have understanding of people who perhaps aren't, you know, and they're curates that.
Well, inside you're saying, why, how can you feel that way? I don't feel that way,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. And that's where I think a lot of that sometimes can come from.
And that's where we have to do the listening and say, well, why are they truly like that?
And same for me. I got to do the listening as well to try to understand, you know.
Well, you and I are alike also because we are working. We are having a family. I raised 3 boys, still raising
3 boys,
Yeah, you never stop raising 3 boys. Right now, Stevie is reorganizing my life. Isn't that nice?
Is that good or bad?
No, that's not good.
Oh, okay.
Every time he comes home, he reorganizes everything in my life. I'm like, where is this? Where is this? But raising 3 boys, and you now have a beautiful little girl, you know, but you're also working. You know, there's a lot to this. And it's not a job. It's a career. There's a difference.
There's a difference. I agree.
There is a humongous difference because you don't turn it off.
No.
And so with that's kind of having it all.
I like to think so. People now ask me, including my father, again, who I've shared, made me write every year, you know, my list of goals. As I got married, my husband and I, you know, doing it together, as I explained, my husband and I now, though, we're like, well, what's next? And it's really strange. My father had asked us that question recently. I'm like, for the first time in my life, I don't have an answer to that.
Wow.
Yeah, which is very strange. And it made my husband and I I'm married to a wonderful man, but my husband and I kind of stepped back and realized right after COVID, like we were just so happy and so appreciative. We both have dream jobs. Again, I'd say our careers. And we have this beautiful daughter. We have a beautiful home. And I'm like, geez, I don't know. You know, so for the first time, we were really kind of forced after COVID to really step back and create, you know, this whole new list of goals and intentions because it was just really strange to us to be like, wow, we
don't
were
have
just
to
so
fight
happy
for
we're at
anything.
peace that this is so amazing. It was a really strange feeling for me.
That's nice.
It's still, again, a kind of a strange feeling and new fresh waters that we're navigating because, again, I've always been just so driven and goal-oriented, and now I'm like, do I just relax and enjoy this for a moment and swim in it? I don't really know. But
there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a strange transition for sure.
You know, it is. It's a true transition. Oh my gosh, you went through a cool transition.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it is. It is a nice. I've come to that myself. You know, my boys are all doing fantastic. I'm proud of every single one of them. They're all making their own path. So that struggle is really kind of, well, it was never a struggle, but it had days of challenges.
Sure.
But my own career, you know, I'm happy where I'm going. I know where it's going. I know what I want and where I want to be. And I will know how many people I want to help in this world. And I'm kind of at that reassessment too.
Something remarkable about you, Alena, that I don't know if people know this either. You know, when I first met you, we said the word woo-woo earlier. Well, you know, and I was really upfront with you. That's another thing about me. I'm just,
you are.
I'm
That's
a straight
what I love
shooter.
about you. Yeah.
I don't sugarcoat anything. If you want something sugar-coated, do not come to me.
Yes.
And that's why I'm not everyone's cup of tea, which
but
is
that's
fine.
why I love you.
But yes, and I told you, I'm like, wow, you're really woo-woo for me. You know, and we joke about that now, that you're really woo-woo.
Yeah.
Or can be, I should say. But what I've come to find about you, and the more you've done this program, which it's been over 2 years now.
Oh, I know, hard to believe, isn't it?
It's so hard to believe, but like you truly want to help others and create this ease and betterment. And I know you say it every weekend on the show, but you truly want ease and betterment for other people. And when you first meet people like that, I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to buy that sometimes.
Yep.
That you've created this life and this career off of that.
Yep.
But man, people ask me about you all the time because they know I produce this show for you. And I'm like, no, like what she's selling, she's like living
I believe
like 24/7. It is the version of Alena that you get on the air is the real Alena in life.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it is. I don't know how to be anything else. I'm just like you. I'm pretty much a straight shooter.
Yeah, but I think that's remarkable. It's a true testament to you and what you do for a living.
Thank you. Well, the way I see it, in my point of view, is that if everybody was happy, really happy with themselves, and really at peace.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh my God, what a world.
What a world.
What a world. we wouldn't even take advantage of each other. We would just be.
I wonder what that's like.
I know. Well, okay, so we don't have much time left, and I love this interview. Tell people a little bit about how they can learn more about your show.
Well, obviously, yeah, they can tune into WOWO right here on WOWO from 5 to 9 a.m. weekday mornings. My shameless plug there for Fort Wayne's Morning News. Or you can follow me on social media. My handle on Facebook is at WOWO Kayla, at WOWO Kayla. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. My handle is the same for both of those, at KH Blakeslee. I like to keep my Instagram a little bit more fluffy and light, where it's more about kiddos and raising a 1-year-old.
Which is fun.
My Facebook and Twitter can be a little bit more political, because that's obviously what I do 5 days a week. So if you're into that, there you go. But if you're not, I might not be your cup of tea.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's good to listen. I like to listen to both sides myself. Yeah. That's how you really get something real.
You've got common sense, though, Alena.
Well, yes. I have all these wonderful things. Yeah. And then everyone out there, well, this has been a pleasure for me. I hope you have enjoyed the show. But I'll tell you what, I'm the founder of Soul Manifesto. And yes, we do. My whole team is like me. We really do want to see you live that ease, that betterment. To just be happy, guys, because when we're happy, we are filled with love. And that love is spirit. That is the only way to really feel spirit in your life. So if you're interested in starting to celebrate life instead of complaining about life, basically, take a look at Soul Manifesto. We make growing easy. Growing within ourselves. We make it fun because it's a discovery, not a workload. And that's what's the whole difference. We've got the Inevitable You out there. Take a look at that. That's with Elizabeth Gilbert, and it's fun. Oh, my gosh. People are listening to it every night, and they've already been through the program. Can you believe that? Even I can't believe that. And then I also have wonderful healing journeys that I'm doing with people who want to get over the stuff in their past to finally live free. And yes, it is possible. Love you all. Namaste.
You're listening to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner purpose. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.